So there was this guy named Bob. Bob was the clumsiest person you could ever meet. I mean, this guy couldn't walk 5 steps without tripping over something. It was like he had a magnet in his shoes that attracted every obstacle in his path. One day, Bob decided to go on a hike in the mountains. He thought it would be a great way to get some exercise and enjoy the fresh air. So he packed up his backpack with snacks, water, and a map, and set off on his adventure. As Bob was hiking along the trail, he spotted a beautiful butterfly fluttering by. He was so mesmerized by its colors and graceful movements that he didn't notice the giant rock in front of him. He tripped over the rock and went tumbling down the hill, rolling and bouncing like a human pinball. When Bob finally came to a stop at the bottom of the hill, he was covered in dirt and scratches. But he was determined to continue his hike. So he picked himself up, dusted himself off, and started climbing back up the hill. As he was making his way back up, Bob heard a strange noise coming from the bushes. He cautiously approached the bushes and peered inside, only to come face to face with a family of raccoons. The raccoons stared at him with their beady eyes, and Bob couldn't help but burst out laughing at the absurdity of the situation. But his laughter startled the raccoons, and they started screeching and hissing at him. Bob tried to calm them down by making soothing noises and gestures, but the raccoons were having none of it. They lunged at him, scratching and biting at his legs. Bob screamed and flailed around, trying to fend off the raccoons. In his panic, he accidentally grabbed a nearby branch and started swinging it wildly, hitting everything in sight. The raccoons eventually retreated, leaving Bob standing there panting and covered in scratches. After the raccoon incident, Bob decided it was probably best to head back home. But as he was walking back down the trail, he heard a strange noise coming from the bushes again. This time, it sounded like a low growl. Bob cautiously approached the bushes once more, only to come face to face with a bear. A huge, grizzly bear staring right at him. Bob froze in terror, not sure what to do. The bear let out a loud roar, causing Bob to scream and run in the opposite direction as fast as his legs could carry him. But in his haste, Bob didn't see the tree root sticking out of the ground. He tripped over it and went flying through the air, landing face first in a pile of mud. The bear, now thoroughly confused by Bob's antics, simply shook its head and walked away. Bob lay there in the mud, defeated and humiliated. He couldn't believe the series of ridiculous events that had just unfolded. But as he lay there, covered in dirt and bruises, he couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. And that, my friends, is the story of Bob, the clumsiest hiker in the world. The guy who managed to attract both raccoons and bears on a single hike and lived to tell the tale. Bob may not have had the best luck, but he sure had a knack for finding himself in the most hilarious situations.